Your house, according to the legendary advice of George Carlin, is the place where you put your stuff while you go get more stuff. But a PC tower case is not just the box where you put your PC components while you earn money to buy better ones. It matters much more than that. If you've built your own PC in the past, you know that having the right PC case can make or break the whole process. In this video, we have selected products that will help you complete the whole process. If you're looking for a flashy PC case that catches the eye of everyone that walks into the room, Deepcool CL500 is not the chassis for you. A key goal for Deepcool in designing the CL500 was to create a case with excellent airflow, and this is something the case maker has clearly succeeded in doing. Running across the top and down the front of the case is a series of metal fins reminiscent of a large metal heatsink. Behind the fins is a layer of metal mesh that helps to keep out dust and makes the case look all the more like one big heatsink. The case may not actually function as a heatsink, but air will pass right through with ease. The front I/O panel on this case is located on the top panel and offers an audio jack, 2 USB 3.0 Type A ports, and a USB 3.0 Type C port. Also up here are the power and reset buttons, and behind all of this is a third button that pops off the top of the case. This gives you easy access to a mounting bracket for fans and liquid cooling radiators. As for the side panels, they are held by magnets, not screws. This extremely useful feature means you can open both sides of the system by simply pulling on one of the panels. Finally, it's worth mentioning that the CL500 comes with a built-in PWM fan controller capable of supporting up to 4 fans. It's behind the right side panel, mounted near the case top. When you're looking at Razer gear, cheap is seldom the first word that comes to your lips. The company's new Tomahawk ATX gaming chassis won't change that tendency. Razer's Tomahawk ATX has jet black surfacing on all the faces that aren't glass. The ATX in the name undersells it a little. The case can also hold a motherboard up to the oversized extended ATX form factor and all the interim sizes down to mini ITX. I'd classify this chassis as a mid-tower, measuring 19.5 by 9.3 by 18.7 inches. It weighs just shy of 30 pounds empty. The top of the case is covered in ventilation holes and a magnetic dust filter. Razer opted to place the front panel I/O ports here, which consist of 2 USB 3.2 Gen 1 Type A ports, a USB 3.2 Gen 2 Type C port, a dedicated microphone jack, a headset combo jack, and the usual power and reset buttons. You'll need a motherboard with a modern Type C header to use that solo Type C USB port. As for cooling, the chassis can house up to a 360mm long liquid cooling radiator behind the front panel if you want to go the water route. Alternately, a radiator up to 240mm long can be mounted up top. A single exhaust fan comes pre-installed on the back panel, and if you go the pure air route, you probably want to add a couple of fans of your own to the front. Whatever you mount up front, expect some constriction of air intake, as the front panel is a solid expanse and the only air inlets are grates along the front panel sides. A top-mounted radiator will allow for freer flow, with exhaust out the top. We've lost count of how many big PC cases we've reviewed, but among mainstream mid-tower models, Fractal designed Meshify 2 compact case is one of the best. The Meshify 2 compact features a Fractal signature front panel, with contours that form a rough but geometric surface. As this panel is entirely built out of a metal mesh, air will be able to pass straight through into the case with ease, and a pair of Fractal Design's 140mm Dynamic X2 GP14 fans mounted just behind the front panel help to accelerate the flow. The top panel also comprises a large section of metal mesh to permit air to flow in or out from that direction. It's not entirely mesh, like the front panel, and Fractal Design opted to install the front I/O panel up here, which consists of 2 USB 3.0 ports, 1 USB 3.1 Gen 2 port, separate microphone and headphone/Audi. Both side panels use a screwless mounting system, though they aren't particularly easy to remove. The panels come off by simply pulling them toward you, from the top, and each panel has a rubber grip to help make this easier. The back of the case is also designed to permit air to flow easily out of the case. A fan comes pre-installed here, as well, though this one is a slightly smaller Fractal Design Dynamic X2 GP12 model. The case also feels quite light for its size and given the glass side. Though this may just be observation bias on my part, as I've mostly worked with cases larger than the Meshify 2 compact lately, the reliance on mesh for parts of the front and top definitely reduces the weight, even though the metal panels and frame are steel. Either way, the case weighs just about 17 pounds empty. It is no surprise that the Thermaltake View 51TG Snow ARGB is a massive case by market standards, although still on the smaller end for enclosures by the brand. Thermaltake has been focusing on the enthusiast liquid cooling crowd for a while and hasn't deviated from that path with the View 51TG. It can hold up to 4 radiators without any tangible compromise to your choice of GPU or PSU and the ability to easily install pumps or reservoirs. Its massive interior size means you benefit when it comes to assembling your PC, with easy access around the motherboard and the possibility for clean cable management. Thanks to the width of the View 51TG, your PSU of up to 200mm and ugly 3.5 inches drives are hidden nicely. Due to the angled metal sheet with grommet-covered openings, all your leads are easily pushed between the compartments, and even installing liquid cooling elements on the side next to the motherboard won't cause any issues with long GPUs in most scenarios. The View 51TG Snow ARGB is equipped with a built-in RGB controller for the pre-installed fans. That unit, which allows you to control lighting both directly or through a motherboard header, is a bit limited in its potential, though. While it allows you to attach more ARGB fans, it forces you to stick to specific Thermaltake units via a special connector. It also sports a lonesome 3-pin fan header which runs all fans at a full 12V all the time and has a limited capacity of 2A. That said, the Thermaltake View 51TG Snow ARGB is otherwise a really well-designed chassis, both visually and functionally, which means it can certainly be recommended. Breaking into new markets is always a gamble for a manufacturer, especially if it's enjoyed success in other segments. Millions can be lost if new products don't sell well. Despite these risks, ADATA has been working to diversify its business, including an expansion into the PC tower case market. Now comes the XPG Battlecruiser, and I'm pleased to say it lives up to its name. In some ways, the empty XPG Battlecruiser case can come off looking somewhat bare. The external panels are mostly tempered glass, so when you look at it, most of what you see is the steel interior and the thin bits of metal that hold everything in place. One thing you can clearly see is the Battlecruiser's excellent ventilation system with gaps for air to pass through almost anywhere. Most of the intake areas are covered by dust filters. The case also comes with 4 pre-installed 120mm ARG fans, which is quite the bonus for LED lovers. If you feel you need more airflow, there's room to add 3 more 120mm fans at the top of the case and 1 more at the bottom. The XPG Battlecruiser can hold a total of 8 storage devices. On the back of the motherboard mounting tray is room for 5 2.5-inch drives, and a cage at the bottom of the case can hold 2 3.5-inch drive mounts. Directly above the bottom compartment is one final mounting location, which can host either a 2.5-inch or 3.5-inch drive. A unique aspect of the XPG Battlecruiser is its mounting system for the power supply unit, which features a detachable bracket in the bottom rear of the case. The Battlecruiser's PSU mounting system works without issue, but there are a few pros and cons. On the negative side, the design doubles the number of screws required to mount the PSU from 4 to 8. On the other hand, it makes mounting the PSU easier to my eyes, as more traditional mounting systems often make lining up the PSU with its screw holes in the case somewhat tricky. ADATA's system may take slightly longer, but the process is frustration-free.